Hello guys, welcome to another review of BM345 Reviews. Today's review is on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I'm not the biggest fan of the TMNT franchise. The only reason I know them is because of that live action reboot series, the 2012 animated Nickelodeon show, and the old 90s TMNT movies. So yeah, that's the only reason I know about the TMNT movie. So now that the movie has already been out, let's start this review. So let's start off with the story. So the story is basically Baxter Stockman creating a family of mutants with this green news until he was swatted by an agency only to kill him in the end, by accident. Meanwhile, a rat who finds these baby turtles that are covered in news suddenly transform into the mutants, which ultimately became a family. One day when they go out of the sewers, they were rejected by everybody because of the way who they are as mutants or freaks. Until one day when the turtles befriend April O'Neil, a journalist who's trying to solve the case of Superfly and a weapon. So it's up to the turtles to defeat Superfly in order to get acceptance by the people of New York. Starting with the huge red flags here, the story is pretty simplistic at best. We have seen this type of story before many times in other films. And also, they completely ripped this story out from another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Didn't we already have this in Out of the Shadows before? So yeah, the story isn't the strongest in this movie. But that doesn't matter since the characters make the story worth it, which I will get into later. The teenage aspect in this movie is pretty well executed. They finally put the emphasis in turtles in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The humor is good. There's some points where I laugh at some references. The story in this movie isn't that great, but that doesn't make it the worst thing possible. Next, we move on to the animation. And my goodness, is it that great? Seriously, the director let the teenagers design their own versions of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles while also executing them in a good way. The color palette is good with some neon colors and dark colors. The human designs might be off, but this is a franchise that's being weird, so that's not a response. The backgrounds are pretty interesting, they put some detail in the backgrounds as well as the character designs. This movie feels like the Spider-Verse of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, just because it takes some influences from that movie. And that's why the animation is the saving grace of this film. You could easily tell that the animators and the teenagers who designed this movie were pretty great on their job. Either way, the animation is fantastic. And finally, let's move on to the characters, which are pretty great. The turtles, such as Michelangelo, Leonardo, Raphael, and Donnie, are great in their new reincarnations. April O'Neil is the girl who befriends the turtles, but she wants to become a news reporter while having anxiety issues. Master Splinter is the adoptive father of the turtles. As they went off the streets of New York, they got rejected. His performance by Jackie Chan is pretty great, to be honest. Cynthia Outram is the woman who has a grudge against mutated animals and decides to use them to make super soldiers. And finally, we have Superfly, who's honestly the best character in this movie because he's like a villain but also interesting. I honestly feel this guy's pain, and his character design is completely amazing. The dark shading of blue and the bright red makes it pretty interesting to look at. And the other characters, well, they're underdeveloped. Like, we don't get to spend time to know about them. But with the other characters, they're pretty great, to be honest. Overall, this movie is without a doubt the greatest animated movie ever. Like, I don't think it's the best animated film, but it's among those. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the best adaptation of TMNT in film form. If you're really a TMNT fan or a teenager, go watch this film. See you later, folks. Or should I say, Cowabunga.